Over here is the all-new 2024 Dacia Duster, and this brings me down to a very big question. Should the Volkswagen Group and Stellantis start stressing out? Because at this point in time, they don't really have a crossover SUV of this size in the segment that really has a similar price range to the Dacia Duster. Yes, price is a very important factor for this Dacia Duster because this was its advantage. Historically, back in the 2010s, the early 2010s, its starting price was even below 10,000 euros. That was what was so advantageous about the Dacia Duster. Now, these cars were not really desirable. They were not anyone's dream car, and because they were so cheap to afford, their quality was obviously not on par with what our competitors were offering, and even their reliability. But now, Dacia has stepped up big time, and they are going places, honestly, because at this moment in time, I cannot think of a competitor with the similar price as this Dacia Duster. This Dacia Duster costs only 28,000 euros, and I'm going to tell you all the equipments you get. 28,000 euros, and you get 360-degree parking camera with parking sensors at the front and at the rear. And every single air vent has a purpose, nothing pretentious. You see this? And do you see this over here? Better quality door handles, they look nice, and better sounding doors than before. Get a nice interior that is well refined and that makes no reference to budget. Well, I'll just admit that everything is hard plastic, but for a good reason. It's easy to maintain, easy to wipe clean, easy to live with in long terms, especially the seating, the fabric, and everything. And all four windows are fully automated. This is very rare for a crossover SUV of this size and segment and price range. Now look at this fabulous off-road control, just like you'd expect in a Land Rover. Detailed off-road information for if ever you go off-roading. Speaking of off-roading, this particular Dacia Duster is a 4x4 mode. Wow! Now, I have a theory about the Dacia brand and where Renault and Nissan are going with it, because there was a time a while ago, back in the 1970s and 80s, there was a brand called Matra. Matra specialized in crossover SUVs or cross-back cars, so basically cars that had this cross-country design to them. Now, when we look at the Dacia models of today, they seem to have popularity with this cross-country package to them. And especially when I look at this Dacia Duster, yes, sure, Dacia is a Romanian car manufacturer, but ever since Renault got involved with the company, in fact, Renault was always involved with the Dacia company for a long time. So therefore, it seems like Renault has categorized Dacia as a cross-country or off-road brand. My first impression when I saw the front, the rear design, and also the interior, I had this impression Dacia aimed for a more off-road styling for their car. And it's really interesting how they've gone about it. It made it look like a military vehicle built for civilian use. It's great how they executed it, but then it's not all pink roses. There are some problems I'd like to talk about right now. Now, this bit of plastic right here has no purpose at all. I have no idea why Dacia puts it there. I think it's supposed to be an imitation of a snorkel to make it look all off-road-ish, but it would be nice if it was an actual air intake. Now, compared to the previous generation, Dacia did a brilliant job with this kind of door handle. Then look at what they did for the rear door. I mean, look at this. They put the door handle all the way up there. It makes it very inconvenient to access the rear seats. No sunglasses holder inside. Whenever I want to close the rear door of this Dacia Duster, there's a bit of a problem. There's no electric button and there's no strap or anything. Instead, there's a little pocket you have to pull, but it's further up there. Why not put the pocket here or further so that I can just pull it down from here? Because right now the Duster is forcing me to pull by the body paint or something. You see, it's too high up for someone to reach. And then when I try to close it down, this bit of the bodywork, it gets very close to me. So it's something I have to get used to in long terms. Now it is time to check out the interior of the Dacia Duster. And believe me, there's no constant reminder of budget. Instead, there's a constant welcome each time I enter this Dacia Duster. My first impression is it's more driver-centric than ever. It's just like other Renault cars of today. So this whole center tilts towards me. And I find this a bit pretentious because this is something BMW first started. So this is basically a BMW identity. And now why is everyone adopting this? And I'm not saying this about Renault alone. I'm saying this about Stellantis, Volkswagen Group. Everybody's adopting this system where the center tilts towards the driver. Come on, be original. But otherwise, for the interior of this Dacia Duster, it's really interesting. The controls over here for your climate and for the air conditioning, it's similar to what you get in a Renault. So it's like a piano effect. And now I'd like to talk about seating adjustment. It's manual, which is easy to use though. I like it. And then you get this steering wheel right here, which can adjust up, down, in and out, but with a bit of force. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. To move it in, it's a bit of a hassle, but okay, just something I get used to. Otherwise, I like the size of the steering wheel, and the feel is good. It's leather wrapped. It's a bit squidgy. And now over to the spokes. I like this feature Renault has. Renault always has a third spoke right here dedicated to your infotainment system controls. I like it to adjust the volumes. Now the armrest is another thing. It's not adjustable. It sticks out very proudly up here. So again, I have to adjust my seating to... Oh, come on, no. Are you serious? Okay, right. To adjust the seating backward and front, there's an extended area on this side, on the left side. Okay, so look at this armrest. Anyways, the central console storage is good. It's a bit narrow. It's a bit too behind. Now let's check out the cup holders right here. 2 cup holders of fixed sizes, decent. They get the job done, and it's all plastic, so it's easy to wipe clean, if anything. Little storage space right here, and a little storage space down there. Good for your telephone or whatever. It's good. And you even get a mat right here to have it wiped clean if needed. Controlling the infotainment system, it's very cute. Anytime I touch a button, there'll be this loud noise. Check this out. Now, I think the sound is not necessary, but it is so cute nonetheless. Now it is time to check out the rear seat of the Dacia Duster. So far, I was not really impressed with the door, and to enter inside the Dacia Duster, this area is really upwards. So again, I have to lift my feet too high to get inside. And it's like getting in the back seat is like getting in a Renault Megane or something. But then as soon as you're inside, you get this strong crossover SUV vibe to it, which is good. Headrest is very firm, but I get a lot of headroom. Feet room can be limited, but just my knee room is okay, but I get the feeling that judging by the seating position of this driver and the front passenger, my shin is making contact with the seat. But then again, it depends. Now, where do I put my bottle? There's no armrest right here or anything. There's no cup holder anywhere, so I have to put it in the door bin. And the door bin is very narrow. So there is essentially no cup holder or bottle holder for the rear seat passenger. But then it is at a budget price for a reason. So if ever you go to the McDonald's, just make sure McDonald's gives you a nice cup holder, which you put right here in the middle for everyone to enjoy. No climate control, no air vent in the back. So you just pray that the front passenger understands your climate needs. And if they don't, you have to compromise. Otherwise, there's a little storage space right here with no guard or anything, so whatever's there will just slide out. Okay, and that's it. Just 2 charging ports down there. Whereas you get this backseat pocket. Oh, that's where I can put my bottle. Ta-da! I would not do that, but I have to compromise, right? Don't I? Now it's time to check out the boot space of the Dacia Duster. So, first impression. Now, looking at the boot space of the Dacia Duster, there's practicality solutions like the 12-volt socket, and then a little hook right here, and you get this nice floor which you can wipe clean if ever you have a dog at the back or a pet, or if ever the days are muddy and you just put your Wellington boot right here. And if ever you don't need it, you get this adjustable floor. Now in this particular Dacia Duster, you have the spare tire underneath, spare wheel. Now it should be noted that the boot lip is very high, so you do have to lift things with a bit of strength before you're loading it in the boot space, but then it should be fine for the rest because the body paint is not exposed. Instead, all you get is the plastic over here, which is durable. So here's my conclusion of the new Dacia Duster 2024. For a price of 28,000 euros, this Dacia Duster is great value for money, but I cannot go further than this. It's not perfect. It's not one of the best crossover SUVs of this segment and this price range, but then it is decent enough. They give you enough equipment, right? The Renault-Nissan Alliance is going places, especially when it comes to budget cars, affordable cars, whether electric or combustion. It's very, very good how they've gone about it. The design of this Dacia Duster has improved. It is far better than the previous generation. In fact, speaking of Dacia Duster, I grew up around the Dacia Duster. I grew up seeing the first generation, the second generation. Now I'm sure I'm going to see this very often on the road. It's they were good cars that were around, but they were not really perfect at anything. They were not really good at any trade. But the only good thing they had was they were affordable. So basically, if you need a crossover SUV that is cheap to afford and you just need to drive from A to B, this is the car for you, because this can get the job done. And also it's got the off-road capabilities. So if ever you need to travel long distances or if you ever want to go cross country, this is ideal for you. But if you really were expecting something more cozy, or if you really expect something more city friendly, this may not entirely be the car for you.